All right, so today we're going deep on this new Quentin Dupieux film.
Oh yeah, the second act. I saw the trailer for this. Looks pretty wild.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it's going to be something else. And you know, with Dupieux, you always know it's going to be weird, right?
Absolutely. Never a dull moment with his films.
Yeah, Mandibles was nuts.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, who comes up with a giant fly as like the main character?
I don't know. I don't even know how he gets these ideas. Like, where does that come from?
That's part of his charm though, right? I mean, he's got this really unique brand of absurdist cinema.
Yeah. And I think that's what they're calling this new one too, right? Like absurdist meta-comedy or something.
Yeah, meta-comedy. Basically, it's like a comedy about comedies, or in this case, a film that's self-aware, like it knows it's a film, and kind of makes fun of itself and the whole filmmaking process.
Okay, so kind of like winking at the audience while it's telling the story.
Exactly, yeah. And we've got this review from MovieKaTicket. They seem to really like it.
Yeah, they gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars.
Yeah.
So let's dive into it. From what I understand, the plot kind of revolves around this love triangle.
Right. We've got Florence. She's head over heels for David, but he's not interested.
Yeah. And he tries to set her up with his friend Willie.
Exactly. Which, as you can imagine, leads to some pretty awkward situations, especially when you throw Florence's father, Guillaume, into the mix. They have this disastrous dinner scene, and that's where things kind of go off the rails.
Oh, so far so good. Sounds like a typical romantic comedy setup, right?
Yeah.
Some awkwardness, some misunderstandings.
Sure, it seems that way. But, and here's the twist, the film isn't really about them.
Wait, what do you mean?
Well, it turns out that what we're actually watching is a film within a film. The real story is about the actors playing these characters and their struggles with this absurd production.
So it's like we're seeing the behind the scenes drama of making this crazy romantic comedy.
Right. Precisely. And that's where the meta part comes in. Dupieux is constantly shifting our perspective, making us question what's real and what's part of the movie they're making.
Oh wow. It's like he's playing with our expectations, you know. We think we're getting one thing, and then he pulls the rug out from under us.
Exactly. And that's what makes him such a fascinating filmmaker. He's always pushing boundaries and challenging the audience.
The review also mentioned this whole thing about the longest tracking shot in cinema history or something like that.
Yeah, that caught my eye too. It does sound a bit gimmicky, doesn't it? Like, is it really necessary?
Yeah, it almost feels like a marketing ploy.
It could be.
Yeah.
But knowing Dupieux, it's probably more than just that. Imagine, right, you're trapped in this incredibly awkward dinner scene. Everything is unfolding in real time. The tension is just building and building, and the camera never cuts away.
Oh, wow. I see what you're saying. So it's not just about the technical achievement. It's about how it actually impacts the viewer's experience, like you're right there in the middle of the discomfort.
Exactly. He makes you laugh and squirm at the same time.
Well, that definitely sounds like a signature Dupieux move. Okay, so the review also raved about the cast, especially Léa Seydoux. Apparently, she's fantastic in this.
Yeah, she really shines in this. I mean, she nails the comedic timing, but she also brings a surprising amount of depth to Flores. It's not just a silly one-dimensional character. She's got layers.
Right. And what about the two guys, Louis Garrel and Raphaël Quenard? They play David and Willie.
Oh, they're great. They have this fantastic chemistry, and it just adds another layer to the whole dynamic. It's like they're all playing off each other so well. And what's really fun to watch is how each actor seems to just embrace the bizarreness of the whole thing. You know, they're all in on the joke.
Okay. So for someone who maybe hasn't seen any of Dupieux's films before, is this a good place to start? Or is it better to kind of work your way up to this level of weird?
That's a good question. I mean, his films can be pretty polarizing. You either love them or you hate them. But I think if you're a fan of movies about movies, if you enjoy that kind of meta commentary on filmmaking, then this is definitely worth checking out. It's a clever critique of the industry, but it's also just a really fun and unique comedy. And honestly, Dupieux rarely disappoints.
And if you're looking for showtimes or want to read more about it, you can always head over to MovieKaTicket. They got all the details.
Definitely a great resource for all things movies.
Well, I think that about covers it for the second act. But before we go, I wanted to leave you with something to think about. You know, we've been talking about how this film blurs the lines between reality and fiction. So my question is, how does that actually change the viewing experience? Like, does knowing that what we're seeing might reflect the actors' real lives make us more invested in the characters' struggles? Or does it make it all feel less genuine? Just something to ponder as you decide whether or not to see it?
That is a great question. I'll definitely be thinking about that when I watch it.
Well, thanks so much for diving deep with us today.
My pleasure. Always happy to chat about movies, especially ones as interesting as this.
And we'll be back soon with another deep dive into something equally weird and wonderful, I'm sure.
Looking forward to it.
Until then, happy watching.